Our lesson today will be production theory. Production theory examines how businesses are able to convert their inputs, which are labor and capital, into outputs, which are the goods and services. So it focuses on the relationship between input and output to determine the efficient production levels. So production is very important. It is illustrated using isoquants. So isoquants are simply points that offer the same output levels. So an isoquant is illustrated by curves that look like that. So we have labor denoted by L, capital denoted by K. So this is called an isoquant. So isoquant 1, isoquant 2, isoquant 3, isoquant 4. So the properties of these isoquants is that the isoquant on top, 3, is higher than isoquant 2 is higher than isoquant 1. So the lowest is isoquant 1. All right? Then the point where the isoquant meets the budget line is called the marginal rate of technical substitution. So we have point A, where you're underproducing, point B, where you're optimally producing, and point C, where you are, uh, it's unattainable. So point B is called the marginal rate of what? Technical substitution, MRTS. Marginal rate of technical substitution is a point at which production is optimal. So now, in production, we have some terminologies you need to understand. There's what we call the total product, which is the total output produced by any given unit. So we use the letter Q or TPL, total product. Then we have what we call the marginal product. This is additional output from one input unit. So any extra uh, output is called marginal. So marginal product is any additional produce. So for instance, we may have our output of quantities. For instance, you have how many laborers? You have laborer 1, laborer 2, laborer 3, laborer 4. Then you have your total product of labor. Maybe you're starting from total product of labor will be what? Maybe 10, 12, 15, then go down 13, and maybe 12. So if we're calculating our total product of labor, it, it is a total product. So marginal product of labor is simply what we add on. So the first one is a dash. How many are we adding on from 10 to 12? We're adding on 2. So our marginal product of labor is 2. How many are we adding on from 12 to 15? We're adding on 3 units. How many are we adding on from 15 to 13? We're going down as by negative what? Negative 2. How many are we adding on from 13 to 12? Negative 1. So the total product is the additional units of the total product. So the formula for marginal product of labor is the change in what? Total product of labor over change in the labor units. What we mean is we're looking at the difference in the labor units. So it is 12 minus 10 divided by 2 minus 1. So 12 minus 10 is 2. 2 minus 1 is 1. So the difference of the quotient is what? 2. 15 minus 12 is 3. 3 minus 2 is 1. So we're getting a 3. So this is how we find our marginal product of labor. The total product is simply the output. Now, we also have the average product of labor. Average product of labor is simply the um, average product of labor is average. Anything average is simply what we are dividing by quantity. So it's simply total product itself divided by the number of labor units themselves. So 10 divided by 1 is 10. 4 divided by 2 is 6. 15 divided by 3 is 5. 13 divided by 4 is 3.3. 12 divided by 5 is 2.5. So the total product of labor divided by the labor unit is what makes our average product of labor. So average product of labor is a unit, is the output per unit input. So it's given by total product of labor, okay, over the labor units. Now, in production, it follows a law of diminishing returns, which simply assumes that as more units of one variable are added to a fixed input, the marginal product will eventually decrease. So this is called the law of diminishing returns. So if you're an employer, you discover that there's a certain level of employees you need to um, employ before which they start going down. So you can see at 1 unit, you were at 10. Okay, labor unit, you had 10. Then when you have 2 labor units, you went to 12. 2 labor units, you increased to 12. And when you went to 3 labor units, you went to 13. 13. When you increased more than 3 labor units, you went to 4 labor units. 3 labor units, you went to 15, sorry. 13 is here. Then when you went to 4 labor units, it fell down to 13, right? Then 5 labor units, you went back to 12. So the law of diminishing returns simply states that as you increase one more unit, there's a certain saturation point where you start declining, going downwards. So this is what we call the law of diminishing returns. So if you're an employer, you need to know that there's a certain level at which you need to stop what? Employing, further to which you are going to slide down in production. Are you together? So now, let us look at the marginal revenue product. The marginal revenue product is simply the extra revenue generated from hiring one additional worker. The extra revenue generated from hiring one additional worker. So it is called the marginal revenue product. It is the value of the additional units times the price. So marginal product times price. So if the price, for instance, is 10 kwacha, so the marginal revenue product, you still be multiplying here 0. The 20, so we have unit 1, unit 2, unit 3, unit 4, unit 5. The marginal revenue product at 1 unit is 0. At 2 units, we're just multiplying by 10. 10, we're going to get 20. At 3 units, 3 times 10 is what? 30. At 4 units, negative 2 times 10 is negative 20. At 5 units, negative 1 times 10, which is negative 10. So this is called the marginal revenue product. You multiply the marginal product times the price itself. All right. So these are the key principles that we need to understand. So now let's go to our question again. Mrs. Banda, the owner and manager of Fine Duplicating Service, is located near Mungushi University and is contemplating on keeping her shop open after 5 p.m. until midnight. In order to do so, she wants to hire additional workers. She estimates that the additional workers will generate the following output. Okay, so laborers, we have 0 up to 6. Then total output, we have 0, 12, 22. So we want to calculate if the price per unit is what? 10 kwacha. Each worker hired is paid 40 kwacha. How many workers must be hired? Now, before I go there, I forgot to mention one thing here. So, do you remember how we calculate the marginal revenue product? We're simply multiplying the 10 kwacha times the marginal product of labor. Where is 10 kwacha coming? Because we are given that the price per unit is 10 kwacha. Then we're also told to say our marginal revenue cost or the wages that are being paid are 30 kwacha. So we are being asked to calculate how many laborers must we employ. So the marginal revenue cost is just the same throughout, or the wages, we just put 30 kwacha, 30 kwacha, 30 kwacha throughout, 30 kwacha. right? So the point at which we need to employ is where our marginal revenue is more than our marginal revenue product should be equal to or more than our marginal resource cost. That's when we can employ. So you need to check where are we more, 20 at 0, 20, 30. So where we are equal to, when the marginal revenue product is equal to. So here they're equal. So meaning, how many laborers are we going to employ? 3 laborers, because this is a point of equilibrium. So this is what I need you to consider as we're going to evaluate this question. So we're given laborers 1.
Hi, sorry. Are you able to share with me the question? I don't seem to have that question, so it will be difficult for me to follow.
All right, I'll share the question, yes. Okay, this will actually be your homework. After I solve it, I need you to actually um, solve it yourself. So listen carefully. All right. So far, are we together?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, we are.
So now we're going to transpose that particular um, question here. So we have laborers 0, 1, 2, up to 6, then total product of labor 0 up to 42. So how do we find the marginal product of labor? The additional units. So the first one is a dash. From 0 to 12, we have 12. From 12 to 22, we have 10. Are you seeing where these figures are coming from?
Yes, I am.
From 22 to 30, we have 8. From 30 to 36, we have 6. From 36 to 40, we have 4. From 40 to 42, we have 2. So this is the marginal revenue product. Then we've been told that the price per unit is 10 kwacha. So what happens when you multiply the marginal product times the price? So the price 10 kwacha. The marginal product times the price, what do we get? Marginal revenue product. Are we together? So 20 times 10, 120. 100 times 10, 100. 8 times 10, 80. Until 2 times 10 is 20. So this is called the marginal revenue product. Then we are told that the marginal resource cost or the wages that are being paid is 40 kwacha. So you put 40 kwacha throughout. Now, this is a marginal revenue product. This is a marginal resource cost. So can you tell me how many workers should Mrs. Banda hire based on what I've taught you? How many workers must be hired? What are you going to look for? What are you going to look for?
She should have 5.
5, correct. How did you find 5?
It's where the marginal revenue equals the marginal cost.
It's where the marginal revenue product is equal to marginal resource cost. So 40, 40 here.
Mm.
So you identify how many laborers are in this 40? Yeah, 5. So this is a point that maximizes what? Production. So that is the marginal revenue product. Okay. So are we together? So there are 5 that should be hired. Are you following? Okay. So let me look at another question to do with production. Look at another question to do with production. Now, suppose we are told that a firm has 10 workers. Okay, so how many laborers we have? Suppose a firm has 10 laborers. So laborers are 10. And the average product of labor for these 10 is what? 1,000. Then further, we are told that our we are told that we are considering hiring an additional worker. So an additional worker, when we hire them, that additional worker is going to give us is going to give us 2,000 additional units. And the price per unit, we are told that the price per unit is 2 kwacha. And the wage that this person is asking for a 5,000 kwacha. The question is it worth paying this person, employing this person? So first, let's calculate. We have how many laborers? We have 10 laborers. So we know that average product of labor is equal to what? The total product of labor divided by the number of laborers. So we're told that average for these 10 laborers is 1,000. We don't know what the total product of labor is for these 10 laborers. But the number of laborers are what? 10. So when you cross multiply, we're going to have what? The total product of labor, which is equal to 1,000 times 10. So if you're going to multiply these 10 laborers are producing a total product of 10 times 1,000. So the width of the units they're producing is 10,000 when there are 10 of them. But there's one additional worker who wants to join them. This additional laborer is bringing in how much? 2,000. So when this additional laborer joins the 10, how many laborers are we going to have? We're going to have 11 instead of 10. So the 11 laborers, the total product will be what? The 10,000 for the 10 and the 2,000 for the additional laborer. So the total amount of production that we're going to have is what? 12,000. This 12,000 is for how many laborers? For 11 laborers. Question number 1, what is the new average product if we employ this new laborer? So the total product of 11 laborers is 12,000. The 10,000 for the 10 people initially, because we multiply 10 times 1,000, plus the 2,000 we are adding. The 2,000 is coming from where? From the new worker who's bringing in 2,000. So they are having 12,000 in total. All right. So what is our new average product? Our new average product will be what? The total product for the 11 and the number of laborers who are 11. So we have 12,000 divided by 11. What do we get? 12,000 divided by 11. What do we get? We get 1090. So this is our new average product for the 11 people. But is it worth employing this new laborer? We only employ when the marginal revenue product is greater than the wage. And what is our marginal revenue product? It is when we multiply the marginal revenue times what? Marginal revenue times what? Times the price. Marginal product times the price. So this person is bringing an additional of how much? 4,000. 2,000, sorry. And each unit, if you're going to calculate times 2, what are we going to have? 4,000. Now this 4,000, if you're going to compute it, you're going to compare it to the 5,000. So if what this person is giving us is more than what he's asking for, it's worth employing. So is this 4,000 more than the 5,000 is asking for? No. So this person is not worth employing because he's asking for more. So it's an economical. So suppose he was asking for 3,000, it would employ him. So this is how production part one is dealt with. Are we together?
I lost connection. I've just come back.
Okay. So for those of you who were in whilst connection was on, is that clear? I repeat, we have 10 laborers, their average is 1,000. So the total product that is produced by these 10 laborers is 10 times 1,000, which is giving us 10,000. So this is our total product of labor. But we have one additional laborer who has 2,000 units, wants to join the company. So when he joins the company, you add this 2,000 to this 10,000. So the total will be what? 12,000. Now, what is the average? We divide this 12,000 by 11, not 10, because now the laborers are from 10 plus 1, 11. So that we find our average product for these 11 laborers, which is 10,090. We are done with the first part. The second part is asking us now, is this worth employing this guy who is giving us 2,000 units at 2 kwacha per unit? So the value of these 2,000 units, when you multiply by what? 2 kwacha, it is worth 4,000 kwacha. So if he is asking for anything less than 4,000, we can employ him because we're going to have a marginal benefit. Anything more than that, it will be an economic. So they use the rule to say we only employ when the marginal revenue product is greater than the wage. So 2,000 by 2 is 4,000 against a wage of 5,000. So we found ourselves in limbo because the 4,000 is less than the 5,000 that is asking for. So this is how in our production we're able to explain the viability of an employee. Is that clear?
Yes, it is.
Right. Now, we also want to understand that there are 3 levels, okay, of production. They're what I call stages in production. So, yeah, stages in production that you need to understand that laborers or employers must get to know. So, in economics, according to the short run, these 3 distinctive stages are going to value how total output responds to changes in one variable while holding the other fixed. So there's stage 1, which we call increasing returns. In stage 1, where we have increasing returns, the following happens. Number 1, we have following scenario. The total product will increase at an increasing rate. The marginal product will also rise, as well as the average product. So the curve will look something like this. So we have our stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3. So in the first stage, our total product is rising. Okay. Then we start declining here. This is our total product of labor. So in stage 1, it will keep rising. In stage 2, when it reaches the maximum, it still keeps falling down. Then we have our marginal product. it will rise, and where it reaches the maximum point, it starts going down here, and it reaches 0 here at stage 2, it drops. This is called the marginal product of labor. We have the average product of labor, which starts also from here. Okay, reaches here, starts to decline. Looks something like that. This is what? Average product of labor. Okay. So as you can see, we have 3 stages of production there. We have stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. In stage 1, the total product is increasing at an increasing rate. Okay? Are you together so far? I need to understand because this carries about 10 marks. So in stage 1, the total product was increasing at an increasing rate. In stage 2, it continues to increase. In stage 3, it begins to fall down. Okay? Downwards. So the key point is that the total product is maximum when the marginal product is 0. So here, where this marginal product is 0, that is where the total product is what? Maximum. Okay. Then when we go to marginal product, these are additional units that are produced by adding one more unit of a variable while keeping other constant. So in stage 1, the marginal product is raising due to better utilization of fixed resources. So the marginal product is going up. Okay. Then in stage 2, it begins to fall. Okay. In stage 3, it now reaches its negative because any extra input will reduce the total output. So the key thing is that the marginal product is maximum when the total product begins to rise rapidly. So when the total product is rising rapidly, that's when this one reaches its maximum. Then when the marginal product crosses 0 here, this is when total product is at its maximum point. Then we also have average revenue. Average revenue, this is the output per unit of an input. The formula is total product over labor. So in stage 1, it keeps increasing. In stage 2, it continues, starts to fall. All right? In stage 3, it continues to fall, although not as steep as this one, doesn't go to the negative. So where it is maximum, that is when the marginal product, when average product is maximum, when it equals to marginal product. So it is maximum here when they meet with the marginal product. That's where it reaches its maximum. So in summary, what we can say is that the total product curve starts to become steep and it flattens and it falls, whereas the marginal product it rises, it reaches its peak and falls to 0, and the average product will rise, reach its peak when the average product is got marginal product. So these are the stages of production. So we end here for our first session. Join our next session shortly. Thank you so much. The first phase of production theory. We'll share the recording.